I'm gonna try this, but this one is gonna be a very long video, and unfortunately it's gonna take up so much space in my computer. But the reason why I'm doing this is because Fairy Tail released 2 chapters this week. We were promised that one. So I'm gonna do a review with both of them in the same one. I know it's probably a mistake, but hey, I'm a guy who is supposed to make mistakes because I cannot make finesse. Hi, for those who are watching, I was talking about Fairy Tail. We'll start with Fairy Tail chapter 2-2. First off, we see a cover page that is nice. It seems to detail all the important characters that will survive the war, who knows. But we also see some pictures about this rumored uh, movie. Even Charlotte's human form is there, and their clothing. I'm a bit surprised, though, what happened to the next anime. Also, we see a new characters for the movie. Apparently an arrogant prince, a general, and a girl we do not know. We do not even know who is who yet. At least I don't know. Oh yeah, and we see some glimpse of Haru, but that's besides the point. Either way, on towards the chapter. Seraph already knows who Grey is. And when I mean that, I mean he even knows that Deliora killed his parents. He even knows about Lucy, who is a descendant of Anna. He also and he mentions that Anna, I think, was a cheerful, positive person who had a great impact on Natsu's upbringing. Or is he talking about Lucy? He even knows about Happy, Ersa, Wendy, Gajiel, all the major opponents of mine. So Grey asks Seraph, what is it that you want? And he says he wants the magical power to protect her. But Grey do not buy that. Why do you need the ability of the first? And apparently he says to defeat Acnologia. And he says that, but the defeat of Acnologia is not exactly the only thing he wants. He wants something more. Elsewhere on the August against Gildart's fight, it turns out that yes, not even Gildarts can fight that man as easily as he gets knocked back. However, Kana appears to try to get some reinforcements. You know, I actually suspected a time ago that maybe Kana would inherit her father's magic and fight beside the point, but given the end of chapter 523, we probably should not think so. But the fact that August says father and daughter, he silently smiles. Either way, he tells Grey his true goal, and apparently, according to Seraph, Grey is the first one to knows about this. Which makes me a little bit confused. I thought we already knew his true goal. His true goal was the annihilation of mankind, Acnologia, and everything else, so that so he could die. After all, he is so tired with the corruption of humanity that he wanted to destroy the world. And I sympathize with that. If I had the power to destroy the world, I would destroy it, without any doubt. However, he says something about but the way Grey says it's actually impossible makes me question, huh? Are you telling me he had something more? Or is this going to be, or is this the, there's a very odd theory that perhaps this war is all in order to summon the god of life and death, Ankseram. However, as much as I want that to be true, we should probably say that is not true. After all, Fairy Tail is not meant to be a complicated manga. It is meant to be simple-minded. Therefore, whatever Seraph's goal is, it's some people will probably consider it cliché and predictable. So, but he is aiming for Natsu to fight Natsu again. If and even though he is mortal, he has at the same time hope. And now it's revealed that Grey actually blames himself for attacking Natsu. After he heard that Natsu was end, he succumbed to anger. But he also remembered that they are my friends, so he will not lose them. So he decides to use his triumph card, which in the end is still an iced shell. I have to criticize that. I mean, of course, I know it's not something creative, but I will still criticize that by saying, all in the end, it was still an iced shell? Ah, well. However, it turns out that he has improved it a little bit. Therefore, it's, well, only a little bit. It's not an ice shell that will sacrifice someone's life in exchange for eternally freeze that person. But apparently he has added lost tribute to it. So um, it's apparently a magic, if I understand it right, as the chapter ends, will erase his existence from his friend's memories, meaning that his life, existence, and memory will become magic, lost ice shell that will erase his existence from people's mind, or at least maybe he will erase his existence, I mean his memories. Don't know exactly, but I guess after everything that went up in the war for Gray, was difficult knowing what he wanted to do. He said he wanted to give UV an answer, and in the end, maybe he wanted to sacrifice himself for everyone's sake. I mean, the only thing I can defend is I know that Gray is a pretty flat character. In fact, I actually sometimes worry. Do you know his Japanese Seiju? I actually sometimes worry. Do you think that that guy considers Gray to be his least? Uh, I mean, the character he want to voice the least? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if him, but I actually would be quite angry if it's like that because, I mean, for me, Gray is actually a pretty unique character for him to voice, and he has voiced a lot of characters, but that's besides the point. What I meant to say is that sometimes Gray has these simple thoughts, like he always uses the eye shell and he always gets stopped because after all he gets stopped in the next chapter. So I understand why Hiro Mashima did 2 chapters this time to speed it along. Was it bad? Was it good? I don't know. That either way, onward to chapter 523. We are not making good time, but uh, he mentions that Seraph once again says in chapter 523 that the user will vanish from this world. But Gray once again confirms that he will disappear from everyone's memories. So, yeah, that's actually, I mean, that is very sad. But it's also, in a way, heartwarming for some reason. I mean, we will make everyone forget him, but he won't forget anyone else. But the but as he begins to do it, Urs Ara appears before him and begs him not to do this, but he ignores it, and the one who stops him again is Natsu. This time not punching him, but stopping him by pushing him down, cancelling the lost ice shell and not sealing it. I think people will call that anticlimactic, but I would call it uh, heartwarming. But as he once again says to Grey, you will die if you do this. Grey says, when I attacked you, I was blinded by emotions and I tried to kill my friends. Therefore, the reason why he wanted to use this triumph card is not because, I mean, not only because he thought that by sealing Seraph, Natsu would not die, nor for the fact that he had a triumph card on everything else. It was simply because he considered himself no longer worthy of being in Fairy Tale. And I will not criticize that, not only as a Fairy Tale fanatic fan, but also even you have to realize that there were guilt in Gray's character. But I do not, as I said in many chapters before, I did not like the fact that Gray went down the Sasuke path, but the fact that he even confesses that he was like that, that fits with his character, because Gray has been, I wouldn't exactly say that Gray is an emo teen, but he has many characteristics of an emo teen. After all, many things in his life have been pain. So of course he would blame himself for attacking his friends. He would have no place. But Natsu cries and says, "We are friends, aren't we? So don't make me forget you. And don't die. Don't think about dying, but live." But but Grace says, but if you defeat Seraph, you will die. It will prove fate. But as Natsu's flame burns, Natsu just proclaims, "Fate, something like that, I'll burn it to ashes." I mean, it's pretty simple, straightforward, but yeah, that is Natsu. It's not One Piece or something else, it's pretty simple-minded. But Seraph throws off his coat, showing a pretty neat army clothing, who says in a badass boast that he is a human who accepted his cursed fate. And that's because he had no choice. That's what called fate. But in the end, I'll say he surrendered to his fate. He did not accept it, he surrendered to it. He was constantly being cursed by all of this, and the one who did that was God Anksaram. Either way, back on the field of Ersa and Wendy. Wendy has successfully healed her broken bones, I guess, because now she can walk a little bit. And suddenly they sense a huge magic as something crashes right beneath right in front of Ersa and Wendy. And it's a sadistic smile. This war just turned into even deeper despair. The war, because it's none other than Acnologia who has appeared, who says with his sadistic smile, I'm bored with this magic, with this world black magician. As August say that we're out of time. And so the double chapters end. The first chapter ended with Ace trying to use Lost Shell, and this chapter ended with the return of Acnologia. Yeah, now we definitely have despair on our thoughts. Of course, a lot of people did not like that Acnologia appeared before Wendy and Ersa. Why? Because, well, now he's gonna be one-shotted, is what they said. And if Acnologia got one-shotted, I would not mind that. However, as I said in many times of this manga, and it may look like I criticize it, but I don't. As much as Fairy Tail is a simple manga, I think even they will know that they cannot make Acnologia get one-shotted. Not by Wendy, not by Ersa. I mean, probably by Wendy. After all, Wendy have all the reasons to slay Acnologia, and now it's even revealed she does have dragon-enhancing slaying magic. So it's not impossible. But it will not be story motivated if that happens. No, if anybody's gonna slay Acnologia, it's gonna be all the Dragon Slayers together. But can they do it? Well, who knows, but now Acnologia is in the field and now no one is here to teleport him temporarily away. But now that he has returned, I'm actually beginning to question, is this really the final arc of Fairy Tail? Because all except one of the final antagonists have all been in place. So everything that is left now is to defeat the antagonists and let's move on. However, I wonder really. I still don't believe this is the final arc, but don't get me wrong. I actually believe that if there is a next arc, I believe that one will be the final arc. Because all the final pieces are in place. We just don't know what will happen next. And I pray it's something simple. But, yeah, Acnologia has returned. And his words is actually once again causing confusion. Because there's something a lot of people have asked themselves and want to get answer to. It is, what is Acnologia's motivations for all of this? Is he really a flat insane character? A character that went insane, wants to be insane, and only cares about being insane? Or did he have an excuse? His words seems to once again hint that there's another motive behind his motives. He says he's bored with this world. And we can translate that word into many different pictures. It could either mean he's bored because this world has no challenge for him anymore, or it could mean that this world is not enough exciting for him. Either way, it's we should not defend Acnologia. And if Acnologia is just meant to be a personification of evil and madness, then let him be a personification of evil and madness. Because I don't think we will ever get a glimpse of Acnologia's past, and if we will, it will not be something surprising. I strongly believe that Acnologia was a man even before he got Dragon Slayer power and got corrupted by the Dragon Slayer's side effects. Was a man who liked killing, and he only cared about killing. I think that is what his characteristic is. But in a short glimpse about great moments, yes, I admit when I read the spoiler I was disappointed. But when I saw a little bit deeper into it, I actually once again defend Grey. People may call that emo cliche, but I say I'm a guy who have constantly blamed myself for many things that is also people consider annoying to hear. So I want to defend his actions. But last time we saw Natsu also, he said his dragon and demon seed had been crushed and he's now human. Does that mean he is not tied to Seraph, or is he still tied? Who knows? All we know is he has to destroy that fate. But next week's chapter is called A Black Future, so it is not hinting towards something good. Give me your thoughts if you have any.